If you're wondering why you haven't been losing weight, even though you're in a calorie deficit, then this video is for you. It is so confusing because you are training, you're tracking every single calorie, you're doing everything right, yet the scale still isn't moving. There are so many reasons that this could be happening to you. So in this video, I'm going to break them all down and give you the options and things that you can be doing to overcome this and start seeing some weight loss for all the effort that you've been putting in. Coming up in this video, firstly, I'm going to introduce you to me so you know who the hell's talking at you. Then I'm going to explain how a calorie deficit works so that you finally understand for good. Then I'm going to cover the main areas around the reasons why busy women with demanding careers struggle to lose weight even when they're in a calorie deficit. Then finally, I'm going to provide you the solutions so that you can finally lose weight and keep it off. Firstly, I'm a little bit chilly out here in the mountains. I'm currently in Italy. So my name is Ailish and I am an online women's health coach, the founder of the Wellness Club Coaching. I've been in this industry for over 12 years, started out with a degree in food sciences, then a master's in nutritional sciences, my level 3 PT, pre and postnatal, etc. I gave birth just over 2 months ago, and like I said, I'm in Italy because I live in Dubai, but it's a little bit hot at the moment, so it's been nice to take my daughter outside, but it's a little bit chilly, ergo the cardigan. And when I'm 3 months postpartum, I'm going to be entering a successful fat loss phase where I'm going to lose the weight that I gained during pregnancy and check back in about 6 months so that you can see that I know exactly what I'm talking about, you know. You've just heard us bullet point a bunch of things there, but essentially what I am is an expert in helping women research and curate their own perfect, healthy lifestyle, especially when they don't have any bandwidth to do it themselves. At the Wellness Club, we remove all of the mental load and provide solutions so that you can seamlessly build a perfect, healthy lifestyle that you truly enjoy and thrive at work and build a body that you love. Let's get started in finding out all about a calorie deficit. But first, we're going to go in with some tough love. If you're in a calorie deficit and you aren't losing weight, you are not in a calorie deficit. You might be tracking, you might be exercising, hell, you might be exercising 7 days a week. You might be so tired, there might be so many things going on, and it's not for lack of effort. You're putting in a fuck ton of effort, but the effort doesn't matter because you're not in a calorie deficit. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. I say this because I love you, because it's not for lack of effort, like I said, it's just for lack of understanding, which you're going to get now. So then you will be able to lose weight. Calorie deficit is calories in versus calories out. So here is a little diagram that I have created. This little dotted line here is maintenance calories. So in this example, calories are slightly above maintenance. You're either going to maintain or gain weight. Calories are slightly above, okay? So maintenance calories, if your calories are on or slightly above, you might maintain, you might gain, because bodies aren't perfect. Bodies basically like homeostasis. So if you're a little bit above or a little bit below, you might maintain because your body doesn't really want to gain or lose weight. Your body's like homeostasis. So in this example, you drop your calories below. So again, you might maintain, you might lose, but your maintenance calories are the calories that your body needs to just homeostasis, stay the same. The energy that your body is using, you are taking in, so you're just running amazing. If you are consuming a little bit or a lot below your maintenance, you should lose weight. If you are gaining just a little bit above or a lot above, you should gain weight. Very simple. Calories in versus calories out is exactly how weight loss and calorie deficits work. So yes, if you are eating 2,000 calories and your body's total daily energy expenditure is 2,000 calories, no weight loss is going to happen. And roughly you're going to have about 3,500 calories per pound and 7,500 calories per kilogram. And it's really important to know that this is a rough amount because technically in terms of energy, that is the correct amount. Everybody's body works a bit differently. Those with a higher muscle mass, men, women, age, all of these little things don't mean you're any better or worse at losing weight. They're just all small little factors that might mean for you it's 4,000 calories to the pound, because you can't perfectly calculate the maths for the human body. It's just really impossible to do. So that's why it's important, we'll get into it, to be consistent, which you probably are being, but it's important to be consistent because that's how you're going to be able to do the best kind of maths for your own body. So yeah, some people might be able to go into a calorie deficit of 3,000 and lose a pound. Roughly, if you're in a 500 calorie deficit per day, so you right now doing what you're doing, if you eat 250 calories less and you burn 250 calories more every single day, you should lose 1 pound per week. It's important to note, like I've said, all those things so far about a calorie deficit, it really is as simple as you're eating less calories than your body is expending. However, if you're not healthy, your body's not going to want to lose fat. The whole purpose of being a human is to survive. So if you aren't sleeping and you don't have good quality sleep, your body isn't recovering, it is not replenishing the hormones around hunger and lots of other things, lots of other processes in the body. You're not able to produce new hormones, and you're not able to kind of flush out all of the waste products that your body has produced in a day, which means that you're going to be running inefficiently, ineffectively, in which case, why would your body lose fat when it needs to sort out these things first? So it's really important that you have your sleep, your diet, your exercise, and your overall health perfect, consistent, perfect being mostly consistent, in place, because then you'll be in the perfect position to go into a calorie deficit. There are 4 main umbrella areas where you might be going wrong with your calorie deficit that isn't leading to weight loss. We've either got skill issue, mindset, exercise, or technical issue. First skill issue is not tracking accurately. So by this, I mean, get the scale on the bench, zero it, food, add it to MyFitnessPal for everything. We are weighing everything exactly. If we are guesstimating, using teaspoons, weighing some things and not others, and just generally kind of thinking, I think I used this after the fact, you're not tracking accurately, therefore you can't be certain you're actually in a calorie deficit. So if you are not tracking liquid calories, if you're not accurately tracking the weekend, you're not tracking every item individually, and you're not tracking it accurately, we can't guarantee that you're in a deficit, therefore no weight loss. Next, it could be that you are doing one of those things above because you don't actually know how to track, and you have just decided that, yeah, like this online calorie calculator said for me, you know, I've got a moderate activity level and it said 1700 calories, so I'm just Bob's your uncle, I'm going on MyFitnessPal and we're going to give it a go. But you don't actually know how to track, and then you aren't tracking accurately, then you're not in a deficit. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing how to track. It really is just a skill that needs to be learned. And if you're new to it, don't be disheartened with yourself. I'd recommend learning the skill, then trying to go into a deficit. So if you're approaching the day going to track everything on the go, that is mentally overwhelming, and you're not tracking everything accurately. You are guesstimating a lot of things and maybe using teaspoons or other kind of measurements, one portion. We need the grams specifically, and also not double checking nutritional value. So yeah, it's all well and good saying, you know, chicken mince, but have you double checked that that makes sense? Have you double checked that it's got the carbs, fats and protein in there, and the calories make sense? Because a lot of the things on MyFitnessPal aren't correct, so you have to double check. But this is just a skill that you learn, and to double check, it's really not rocket science. Just Google it to confirm that it's correct, and also confirm against the label of the product too. And then the final skill issue, which I briefly mentioned, is just doing it on the go. This is a mental, horrible torture that you are doing, because if you have decided that you're going to stick to a deficit and you start every day at 0 calories and you're like, right, I need to end the day on 1700, but you've got no idea what you're having for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and you're tracking on the go, you are just deciding to torture yourself every day. Can I eat this? Does it fit my calories? I want this, but it doesn't fit my calories. I don't know, will I be hungry later on? I'm going to eat less now, but then I'm going to overeat later on because I'm hungry, right? If you develop the skill first and for a couple of weeks, track your meals, track your calories sporadically, you'll learn what foods fill you, and you'll learn what is worthwhile having, like what is a lot of calories and it's not filling, so it's probably not the best to have in a deficit, so that when you get to actually tracking in a deficit, you don't have this issue where it's causing a lot of mental distress. Second main umbrella area is exercise. So the first issue, and this is a well-studied phenomenon in humans, because I don't know, I think generally, even though you'd like to think you don't, you probably got too big of an ego. It's true for all of us, basically. You might be overestimating your energy expenditure, your activity level. You really might be like, yeah, I'm working out hard, I'm doing all these workouts and all these steps, and in the calculator, you might be egging yourself up. I'm not moderately active, I'm very active. And then you are incorrectly calculating your deficit. So we are reported to overestimate how much we move and underestimate how much we consume, because we're naughty, we're naughty. But now that you know this, you can be aware for the next time you enter a deficit. The next reason is that maybe you've been in a deficit for a while and you have lost weight, but now you've plateaued. Well, your non-exercise activity thermogenics, your NEAT, could have been tapering off, because when you have been malnourished for a while, because that's what you are when you're in a deficit, often you are malnourished because you don't have the calories your body needs to function optimally. So your body is taking calories from your fat stores to function. So when this happens, your metabolism, oh, I can actually draw a picture about this. How nice is that? So when you're in a deficit for a little while, this is your maintenance and this is time. So as you're in a deficit, your maintenance slowly lowers. Why is this? Well, firstly, you've lost weight, so your basal metabolic rate has decreased because there's less of you, so there's less energy needed to fuel you. So your maintenance lowers. Also, because you're a little bit tired, generally if you're in a deficit, your energy levels drop after like a few weeks. So you are using less energy and you're more lethargic than before, even though you probably don't realize. It all adds up. Therefore, your NEAT has lowered, your basal metabolic rate has lowered, and therefore you're not in a deficit anymore. So I've actually got a quick solution for this for you here, and that is, in a deficit, we want to lower our calories, come back up, lower and come back up, and basically you don't want to stay in a deficit for too long. You want to have a good deficit, come back up to maintenance, refuel your body, replenish your body, another deficit, and just go on and go on, depending on how much weight you've got to lose. If you've only got 5 kilograms to lose, you can probably just do that. If you've got 10 kilograms to lose, maybe you want to do 2. And if you've got like 20 kilograms to lose, you need to be refueling between to build your basal metabolic rate and your NEAT back up, because you're going to stall, and now you know why. Third main umbrella area is mindset / routine. So the first one here is all or nothing, and you know the drill. Starting on Monday, trying to just tick every box like perfect habit tracker, and this is actually a lot of effort. Like, you are probably burning a significant amount of calories in those first couple of days, first week or so, but because you're trying to obviously be perfect, the second that one thing doesn't get ticked off on the habit tracker, you go back to where you were or worse. So you are never in a deficit long enough to see results, even though you have put in a ridiculous amount of effort and technically feel like you should be seeing a deficit. Unfortunately, you probably eat more because you've restricted too much and are less active than you were before. So it's kind of like a lot of energy burning and a lot of energy consumption. This links into what I said earlier about your overall health, but stress and sleep, two big huge factors that are really neglected because you feel like you don't care about your sleep quality. You scroll on your phone in bed, you watch loads of episodes of Netflix up until 1 a.m. You do all of these things to unwind after work, when again studies show, sorry, I'm just gonna nip in here before you feel like personally attacked, but like I said earlier, I'm 2 months postpartum, I'm breastfeeding, and so that means that my sleep isn't in a great place right now, but I have to get up multiple times during the night, and I'm scrolling on TikTok because it keeps us awake, but it's terrible. I'm double whammying, but I'm not like trying to delude myself into saying, and I'm also not trying to lose weight at the moment. So I'm not trying to pretend that my sleep's better than it is, because so basically, yes, when you aren't getting enough sleep, like I said, your body can't remove the waste and it can't replenish the hormones and all the good things in your body that you need to function optimally to lose weight. So please have a good bedtime routine and get enough sleep. Same with stress, can impact you in so many different ways, physiologically but also psychologically. Like, when you're stressed, you are more likely to give up, more likely to be less motivated, etc. So it's just worth being mindful of your stress levels too. Another thing that might be leading you to not lose weight even though you're in a deficit is not eating enough protein or produce in your diet. So eating a diet of convenience food, high calorie food, energy dense food is gonna make you not full. You're not gonna be satiated. you're going to be hungry more often, and you are more likely going to overeat. So if you dive into a deficit without prioritizing a healthy diet first, yes, you might be in a calorie deficit, but sometimes we put ourselves into a little bit, well, we're in denial about how much we eat, and like I said, not tracking the weekends, not tracking everything, the little handful of stuff here and here. So this is an example of, if you are having a whole food diet, this is the amount of volume. So if you're having lots of homemade stuff, produce, filling, low calorie, high volume foods, 2,000 calories is very filling. That's a lot in your stomach. Whereas if you mostly eating convenience food, energy dense food, eating 2,000 calories, it's not a lot on your stomach, so you're not going to be full, so you're more likely to overeat. And the next thing is, your routine is very important. So if you're just trying to dive straight into MyFitnessPal without having, I put meal prep, but that could look like planning your meals, because you can still cook every meal on the go if that works for you. But like your meal prep slash meal organization slash meal planning, if you aren't already doing that and eating filling meals and consistent with it, then you're really going to struggle with your calorie deficit, because you need those things in place to know that you are in 3,500 calories of a deficit per week, ergo losing 1 pound slash half a kilogram a week. And again here, I really can't stress enough, I'm being a little bit tough love in a nice understanding way, because honestly I've been there. But if I don't tell you, then you might just not, you might take longer to realize and be unhappy with yourself for longer, which I don't want. I'm not trying to like bully or attack, I'm just telling you the facts and the truth, because this is my area of expertise. But you might be like in denial, a bit delusional, and be like dieting in your head and thinking that you're being better than you are. You might be mentally tracking the calories, like, yeah, I know that I had this in this meal. Come on, girl. Like, great. That's helpful. Like, you are so busy and stressed. You are balancing so many things. You might be balancing having a family, children. You might be balancing having a team, working for a promotion, going through a breakup, going into a new relationship. Like, there's so many things that could be going through your mind. So you aren't going to be able to accurately tot up your daily calorie intake, you know. So don't do that. Either be in a deficit or don't, right? Because that is a surefire way to ruin your relationship with food, right? Finally, we're going to go into some technical issues where the things that I've mentioned, you are actually doing, you're spot on, you're actually amazing, fantastic, perfect, like, sorry, perfect diet, perfect routine, perfect consistency, but there might be some other reasons that you just aren't losing weight. First one is metabolic adaptation, which I went through a little bit earlier, but like I said, when you diet, you want to be kind of keeping it short and snappy to ensure that your body doesn't, you don't lower your basal metabolic rate too much. So there is no right or wrong way. You might want to diet for 4 weeks, for 16 weeks. I'd recommend somewhere between 6 to 12. Go kind of hard-ish, then come back up to your baseline, refuel, re-energize, get your energy expenditure back up, and then push again. So you might be in a calorie deficit, but technically the calorie deficit has changed, because you might have been in a deficit for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and your body has adapted because you've lost weight and your energy expenditure is lower than when you started. You can't starve your body, it doesn't work. Another reason could be due to your cycle. You're going to gain weight once a month at the very least, just due to water retention, fluctuation, especially if you've just started out and you haven't really tried the diet before, you haven't tried a calorie deficit before, and you're really frustrated because you actually genuinely have been doing everything perfectly and you're weighing yourself every single morning, and yet the weight is going up or staying the same. Don't worry, like, the body isn't a perfect machine. We've got loads of stuff going on. One poor night of sleep, a little bit more salt than usual, trying a different food, your body is just going to react by holding more or less water, which leads to day-to-day fluctuations. But if you take a trend and track your body weight for every single day of the month, you will see it kind of fluctuates up and down, and if you are in a deficit, there should be a downward trend. Another reason is that you could be not giving it enough time. So the way that fat loss works generally for most people is you give it a go. You're in a consistent routine already, so say you're doing 3 workouts a week, 10,000 steps a day, and you're tracking your calories, so you push your steps up, add an extra workout, and then you lower your calories. First week you lose weight, amazing. Second week you don't, you store. So you just wait another week and see if you have a drop. And if you don't, then we either increase energy expenditure or lower calories again. So you've just got to trial and error. It's not a case of, right, I'm going to push my energy up and lower my calories and that's it. That's me, I'm going to lose 10 kilograms. It's a constant adaptation, which is why it's really important to take loads of data points so that you can say, right, week 1 I lost weight, amazing. Week 2 I didn't, right? Let's just check if it's one of those like on my period, water retention things, or 2 weeks of that, no weight loss, I'm not in a deficit, so let's adjust. And then finally, all of those things are perfect and you haven't done any of the above, there could be an underlying medical reason for this, and PCOS could be one. However, if you are prioritizing your health, then it isn't. PCOS does not stop you from losing weight, but if you aren't prioritizing your health first and you're not actually healthy, you aren't mindful of your sleep, stress, carbs, etc., then you probably won't lose weight. But if you're doing everything above, then you could be thyroid, could be Hashimoto's linked to that, and also just hormone imbalance, in which case you can take all this data and proof to a doctor. This is why it's really important to take data. So take your weight, take your tracking, take your exercise, take it all, take the proof to your doctors to show that you've been doing this, to streamline your referrals and say, hey, I believe that I've got a hormone imbalance or something like that because I can't lose weight, and here is all of my proof. So when you take proof like this to your doctor, it shows that you're serious, and also that they don't underestimate you or make assumptions about you. If you've got all this data and proof, refer you basically a lot quicker. So I've got 3 solutions to you if you're the kind of person who works hard in a calorie deficit and can't lose weight. The first solution is to create a nutrition routine for life, for you, personalized. Create your baseline nutrition habits, your day-to-day nutrition kind of approach that you can maintain and keep forever. So this is not something that you can just ask somebody for. This is something you genuinely have to do yourself and trial and error. And I'll just give you an idea of mine. So when I'm at home, I will meal prep every week. That's it. It's literally 2 hours of my week for half of my meals. Easy peasy lemons. I have no issue doing that. Pop on a Disney movie, pop me headphones on, cook, lush, amazing. Even with the baby, pop her in the wrap. Bob's your uncle. While I'm away, I make sure I have a high protein breakfast. That is oats for me at the moment. I'm having protein oats for breakfast. If I'm just kind of traveling elsewhere, I'll get a yogurt. I'll get a protein yogurt and have that with maybe some cereal or granola to ensure that I'm getting 30 grams of protein at least in the morning. And those are 2 of my own ones that work for me, and that I can stick to no matter what. So nutrition, lifestyle, what works for you? Number 2 is go through fat loss phases. Please don't try to brute force your fat loss. You can't just say for the next 6 months, I'm going to go all in and lower my calories every single day. It doesn't work. That's not how it works. I've told you how it works. Metabolic adaptation. You can't lose weight forever. Go through fat loss phases. So again, using myself as an example, I'm going to lose 10 kilograms, check back in 6 months, and I'm doing it in 2 fat loss phases. So I'm going to do one big push and then another big push, and then we should be there. Finally, there is no one correct solution. Again, I can't stress enough how when doing this yourself, a lot of it is trial and error and just making sure that you aren't repeating the same thing over and over again and failing, obviously, because fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me 3 times, shame on me, fool me 4 times, shame on me, do you know? Like, take the data of what you're doing, track what you've been doing, and if you attempt the same thing again and expect different results, I think there's a quote that says that's stupidity. And there's no one correct solution. You have to give different things a go and see what's going to work for you in your season of life. And I'm going to explain that outside of me and outside of examples of me with some case studies of women that we have worked with at the Wellness Club, so that you can get some ideas of potentially something that would work for you and understand that online coaching is not just a here is a plan, follow it, good luck. It is like I said earlier on, removing the mental load and providing solutions. So you can try something, provide us with the results, and we can find the next solution. So you are just trying and trying, and we are finding the solutions when things don't work. Because like I said, it is trial and error, and it might not be the first thing that you try that works. So first, Olivia has a sedentary office job half the year, and the other half of the year she is travelling with 16-hour-long days, and she also lives between two houses, so she's got a lot of reasons to struggle with consistency. The first thing we worked with was a Sunday meal prep, where she prepped half of her meals for the week, and she completely has transformed her body and lifestyle 2 years later, but that's the first thing that we worked on for her particular lifestyle. Jessica worked basically every day of the week, if not just 6 days of the week, and was constantly on her feet all day. She also didn't really have any time to eat during her working hours, so we basically tried to find a gap where we could, and she got her meal prep routine down to a T in only a couple of months, which led to a really sustainable weight loss. Beth worked from home, so sedentary lifestyle, and she became a MyFitnessPal whiz. She previously had a really negative, restrictive association with tracking and food, so we made an effort to include all of her favourite foods, make tracking enjoyable, and the results speak for themselves. She absolutely nailed her fat loss. And this took around 6 months. Next, Kate worked a very demanding corporate office job that had a daily buffet lunch, which I love, but that makes it hard, right? You can't technically track it, there's a lot of guesstimating. She also loved socialising on the weekends. She was not willing to sacrifice her social life, and she shouldn't have either. The approach we took with her was to get really granular with her food knowledge, so she understood calories and macros and weighed up how much she enjoyed foods, what were most satiating to her, so like really going in depth straight away with food knowledge. She lost 20 kilograms in 1 year from focusing on this first. Next, Keely lost 17 kilograms in a year through focusing on just enjoying a diet, getting excited about a diet. Like the main focus was just wanting to cook, wanting to experiment, wanting to have fun, and actually not seeing it as a negative or a chore, and just wanting to love it, right? So as you can see, there's literally not one size fits all. Everyone has different circumstances, everyone has a different history, everyone has different preferences and ways that they want to do things, and that is how coaching can help, because we don't put a one size fits all on you. We actually just ask what you want. We look at your circumstances and we tell you what's going to get you the fastest results, what's going to get you the most realistic and enjoyable results, and meet you somewhere in the middle and help you overcome every single hurdle so that you achieve the results while enjoying the journey. The link to inquire with the Wellness Club is in the bio description if you would like to just see whether we could support you, and I'm happy to chat through anything and give you any answers to any of your questions that you might have. Otherwise, I really hope that this video has been super helpful, has helped you find the area where maybe you have been going wrong with your calorie deficit and not actually losing weight, because I want it for you. I want you to lose weight. I basically went through every single reason there that it could be happening, so if we've not found the solution, let us know and I'll help you out. See you in the next video. Bye.